Hello guys and welcome to Watching Time. Today I wanted for some time, I didn't have it on under my hand, but I was lucky now this week to have my friends watch. I wanted to do this video about two Rolex Air Kings. Two Rolex Air Kings that are not exactly the same, and I thought it was interesting to discuss about this topic with you. I know some of you, each one of us has several opinions on this topic, but what I can say is that I definitely condemn buying forgeries or replicas, particularly because of the fact that if you want something and you want the quality, you want everything that's behind the brand, and getting a replica, it's not going to give you anything of the things you want. And if you're probably buying one, it's more for a status symbol category, and not really because of the love that you have about the watches. I have seen many guys in the past own the real watch and buy a replica just to beat it. I don't know, this is something I once can evaluate, but remember always that buying a replica, it's illegal and it's going to fit a black market. So this is an educational video just for you to be careful, especially be careful about the gray secondhand market that's around, in which people are, also because of the speculation around Rolexes, buying secondhand watches, even paying higher of what it is the retail price, and in reality you're not receiving a real Rolex, but you are receiving a replica. And apart from the fact that replica watches are already illegal, this type of things goes into totally another category, which is the one of selling something that it's not what you're telling the people, and it's tricking them into buying a fake watch for the price of a real one. So this is even a more grave, let's say, legal situation. So be very careful, and be very careful particularly because of what I'm going to show to you. One of these two watches, it's real, it's the real Rolex. The other one, it's a replica. So as you can see, putting them both side by side, and we're talking about their king here, so probably not one of the most wanted Rolex watches. It has a kind of a niche of people that like it. I am one of them. I am totally guilty of loving their king, the design, the color use, the way Rolex risk doing this watch, and I really hope they take it out of the catalog soon, because definitely will help the owners to have some more recognition, probably by the community, that will realize their mistakes. But what I can say is that as an owner of an Air King for more than 4 years now, more or less, when I had this at hand, actually when I saw it on the wrist of someone else, I couldn't tell. And when I have it at hand, I couldn't tell either, if not by a single thing that I'm going to show you later on the manufacturer that obviously told me there was a problem. But the difference can only be seen if you have one by side. If you have side by side both watches. And so this is what I'm trying to show to you guys. But at the same time, if you don't know which one is the real deal and which one is the replica, it's going to be very difficult to tell aside. So bear with me, I'm going to go through some details. They are very little, so that's why I'm really worried about this type of watches circulating, and you need to be really careful when watching a second-hand watch. But I know even if they are copying even the material, so it's even the 904 steel. And this is even more scary because at touch, feel, I have the same perceptions in both watches. So as you can see, there are probably, for the eagle eye guy that is seeing this video, there are small difference. There are small difference that you will notice between both dials. The shape and size of the case and the non-movable bezel, it's almost exactly the same. I have already measured them, and there is like a half of a millimeter difference between them. It's scary how similar they are, both in height as in width and luck to luck. The crown, it's very similar, very little difference between both of them, as you can see. So it's actually well made. The material of the stainless steel, it's very near. And the width and quality of the bracelet is also quite good. And the difference in size, there's a small difference, but it's like 1 millimeter. So it's not noticeable at bare eye, and definitely not noticeable if you don't have the watch next to it. Overall, as you can see, it's almost an exact copy, and that makes me very afraid. So what are the small tells that you can see, but you can see only if you have one next to it that it's the real deal? So first of all, the Arabic numbers, the main Arabic numbers, the 3, 9, and 6, there is a small size difference. You can probably tell there, it's very little, but there is. And the replica one, it's a slightly bigger. On the other side, the pilot numbers from 5 to 55, there is also a small difference in terms of the font, color intensity, and size. It's slight, but it's present, and the replica one is slightly bigger, but very slightly. The lume use is almost exactly the same. Obviously, Rolex quality lasts much longer, but immediately after being charged, the intensity and the color tone, it's almost identical. What other difference you can see? There is a difference in the color of the green Rolex logo and the crown. And obviously now I can tell you that the left one, if you were thinking that the left one was the real deal, you were correct. This is the real deal. This is a replica. And as you can see, the green has a good printing, so I cannot say that the quality of the printing is bad, but the color, it's slightly off respect to the original one. The quality obviously of the printing is different, and the Oyster Perpetual wording, it's nicer and more near in the original. The crown, almost exactly the same, but the yellow is slightly off respect to the high, very nice yellow intensity of the original one. Erkin Superlative Chronometer officially certified wording, almost exactly the same. Please don't take into consideration that I am having the watch is not in the same position. The second hand, the only difference apart from the color, the tone of green, is that the lume spot, it's more defined on the replica, and more fused, let's say, with the hole in the original one. Apart from that, it's impossible to tell. Obviously, there are big tells that you have to actually have it in hand to realize this. Just a quick clasp, double shot here. As you can see, they are very similar, but obviously the quality of the stamp on the replica, it's slightly more rough, but it's well done also. And the brushing that is particularly evident here of the satin brush of the steel, it's slightly, let's say, deeper or larger than the one in the real watch. But apart from that, the difference is minimal. So big tells, but you need, I again repeat, you need to have the watch at hand, is the movement. This movement, you don't hear it. It's very, very silent. It's one of the old movements. This one, on the other hand, I hope you heard that. It sounds a lot. It's not a maraca necessarily, but it's something that's really audible. So definitely one tell that you can say. If you unscrew this for changing the hour or whatever, first of all, it comes out very nice and easy. This doesn't have any rubber or anything because this model doesn't have it, so that's correct. The moving of the hands, it's smooth. You won't notice any problem there. If you go to the charging, actually the sound is very nice, and it has the very nice resistance. So I don't know, probably I have not opened it, but probably it's a clone movement also, but it's not bad. So it's difficult to tell from those things that usually experts kind of tell. The feeling of the steel, it's something that I also use to recognize fake watches, because original ones, they give me another type of feel, but I can tell you that this particular watch is difficult. The quality overall is quite good, and the steel that they have used, I think it's 904. It has the same kind of feeling in your hand. There's another big tell here, and it's more related to the quality, production, quality control of this particular watch. I don't think every replica has this problem, but they have not correctly finished here the pivoting point. So there is kind of a step here when it opens. It's not a big deal because at the end you can still open it totally, but it's something that obviously definitely tells you immediately that it's not a real Rolex watch. Okay, so these are the main difference. Overall, guys, this is a really scary replica, I must say. I didn't thought they arrived to this level of I don't know how to call it, this level of similarities to the original ones. You need to be really careful when you buy a second-hand watch. It's very difficult if you don't have something to say, and pictures are no use. You need the real deal next to it to say, okay, it's exactly the same watch, and you have the documents and everything. Sometimes in the gray second-hand market, they sell it without documents or boxes. So you need to be double careful to don't buy a replica. And these kind of replicas, if you are not into watches and you don't have and probably it's also a clone movement, so probably if I open it up, it says 31 and has all the engravings of the real movement, and also the double box, because this is, you know, like a Milhouse. It has a double case inside. You wouldn't notice. Only an expert watchmaker will notice, and you will probably keep it as an investment or something, and you will not even realize this is a replica. This is the level of replicas that they have arrived to. I'm sure there are higher level replicas around. So guys, please be really careful when you are going to buy a second-hand watch. In particularly, trust your official retailers, and try to avoid buying replica watches, because overall you are going to feed a black market that it's not going to help anyone and doesn't treat workers the way the real market actually does, with all the respect that they need. So anyway, guys, I hope that you like this educational video on how the level of replicas are getting scary, and talk to you all soon in my next video. See you soon then. Bye bye.